I hear a number of fathers getting cancer. And I asked them, did you have a family doctor? No, I just went and I just found out. I don't want any dad on the operating table unless they absolutely have to be. And even more so since the pandemic, I don't want fathers having mental challenges if they can be prevented.
Welcome to the Dad Central Show, hosted by Ed Gough Jr. and Drew Soleyn. We know dads want to see their kids succeed, but they don't always know how to get there. This show gives dads the tools they need to raise confident and successful kids.
What is up, everybody? It's Ed Gough Jr. from the Dad Central Show, in collaboration, in partnership, in madness with who?
Drew Soleyn of the Dad Central Show and Dad Central.
Same here. I'm Dad Central too. I didn't put that in, so sorry about that. What's going on, Drew?
Well, it's summertime, and summertime is going fast. So kids are in camp. Eliana's growing. She's 3 months and 2 days. So lots happening. Of course, life still goes on top of all of that stuff. So, but I'm enjoying being outside. I'm enjoying summer camp schedules can be quite busy. My son's got baseball in the evenings. This week he has baseball twice. And my daughters do riding on Wednesday nights. So it's full when we're all on. And of course, balancing, the baby and then everything else. So it's good. It's full. I'm enjoying it, but it can be tiring for sure.
Absolutely.
How about you? What's going on in your world, Ed?
Well, you have me doing some work over the next few weeks, which is
make me sound like a taskmaster.
No, I'm really excited about that. Always good to get back in the swing of things out in the field. So looking forward to doing some sharing sessions with some different parenting groups about fatherhood, which is really exciting. Always doing this when we can merge together is always a great thing. Summer's going by really fast, but it's if you like hot weather, Toronto's been the place. Well, one of the places, not as much as Arizona. We don't want to go there, but it's been all good. And just hearing and listening to a lot of fathers in with their kids and getting out there doing activities, and just a sense of happiness and joy to be able to just get out and doing things with their kids. Been hearing a lot of that this summer, so that's been really wonderful to hear.
Yes. Well, and I just on that point of me putting you to work, Dad Central is a provider. We serve, and so we have been blessed with the opportunity to deliver workshops for the early on centers in the Brampton, Mississauga, Malton area. And so, we get the chance to connect with, dads. We get the chance to connect with professionals serving fathers, and we get to deliver key information about, one, the critical role of fathers in supporting healthy families. And then we also get to do specific things, like we're doing a workshop on, how dads can stay calm, connect better with their kids, and get them to listen. And so, if you happen to have a need or desire to have one of us join and deliver some content for you, reach out to us. Our email that we say at the end works, but you can also email me, drew@dadcentral.ca, because we want to be able to provide support and service wherever it's needed to help fathers and to help those who serve fathers. So that's we get to deliver some of these workshops in communities, which is fantastic.
And for people, when I said work, it's hard work. It's not Drew putting me to work. It's hard work. It's not hard work. So it's hard work, and and we can do those workshops face to face or virtually. Obviously, we're post pandemic, but during the pandemic we did a lot of virtual. But we actually enjoy getting out there and being out with you physically and hearing those questions, not through a monitor, but just there and really engaging with the families and the family service providers out there and the dads. That's what we're really all about. That's what Dad Central is all about. But speaking about that, the Dad Central Show is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. Dove Men Plus Care believes that care is the best of a man, because when men care for themselves and others, there is a positive impact. So absolutely. So today, Drew and we're going to be doing it, I guess, Han Solo. No guest today, but we're tossing around conversation topics before we got started. And even though it's summertime, I always have a passion about men taking care of themselves, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally. And I know that I'm sure there's been many a father this summer's been to a barbecue or a picnic. I want to make sure you're keeping yourself in check. Drew's, we're gonna put Drew right on the hot seat. How you been eating okay this summer, Drew?
Not as good as I would like. In fact, with a new baby and lots of coming and going, the demands and the ability to prepare good quality, nutritious meals hasn't been there. And so I have not been eating as well. I've been eating out more. Some of that is convenience. Some of that is, just want to enjoy not having to actually do the work with a baby and all the other work you got to do. So I haven't been at the best.
Yeah. Hey, you know what?
Thanks for putting me on the spot, Ed.
Well, you like to put me on the spot once in a while too, so it's okay. But no, it's just reality. It's there's a lot of stuff going on, and one of the first things I want to suggest when it comes to fathers is getting routine checkups. Before Drew and I went live today, I wanted to ask the fathers out there, do you have a family doctor? Do you, Drew?
We do, and I
Good.
do have a family doctor.
Good. And how long have you had a family doctor for?
Pretty much since I moved to Kingston. That was in 2007. I'm fortunate at that stage to have a family doctor.
Yeah, I've had one all my life, and not only the family doctor I have is the same doctor my dad has. So I think for the dads out there, hopefully you have a family doctor. I'd suggest you do. And if you also get your family medical history and share it with your doctor, because a lot of health challenges I know that dads have suffered are hereditary.
So Ed, I have a question.
Sure.
To maybe, and then lead the rest of the conversation. Like, why is this topic, you think, so important? Why is it something that you feel pretty passionate about? Because I know you've talked about it before, so I want to understand where you're coming from, maybe help the listeners understand why this topic's so important.
As I go along more in my manhood, fatherhood journey, I see fathers are transitioning, I think, before their time. And too often I'm hearing, they had this, like one of the things is colonoscopy. I hear a number of fathers getting cancer. I asked them, did you have a family doctor? No, I just went and I just found out. So I want fathers to be around as long as possible, not only for themselves, but for their children and their family. So that's what I'm really passionate about. And people have heard me share before how I almost lost my dad a number of years ago because of heart bypass surgery. I don't want any dad on the operating table unless they absolutely have to be. And even more so since the pandemic, I don't want fathers having mental challenges if they can be prevented. Right? Because we in the fatherhood community know how much impact we have on our children, the things we do and the things we don't do. So that's partially one of the reasons I'm so passionate about, I know, I go to my doctor and he says, I'm always so happy to see you. I go, well, yeah, probably because it increases your billing. He goes also that I don't see as many men coming in here as I'd like to. And for me, when I go see my general doctor, I go see my doctor every 3 months. And people say, you got to be crazy. I said, well, I value my health.
Well, that statement, health is wealth, might be very appropriate at this stage, because at the end of the day, if you don't have your health, what do you have? Right. And it can be quite challenging, costly, like financially costly, but also emotionally, relationally, otherwise costly if you are struggling with your health. And yeah, as you said, some of it is genetic, right? Some of it we have no control over. Like me, I have a family history of cardiovascular disease. I have no control over my genes. But what I do have control over are the choices that I make, the way that I choose to, maintain my physical health, the food that I eat, the things that I can do with the physical body that I do have. So it can be challenging though, I'd say, especially with the demands and goals and aspirations. And, I think one of the important topic areas is, what actually gets in the way of men or dads taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
Is it just they're so focused and driven and determined in a particular area that they're like, it can wait. I'm not worried about it. Like I've heard, driven entrepreneurs, I'll sleep when I'm 60, or I'll sleep when I'm dead. Right. Or, like all these different, approaches that you've heard traditionally. So I don't know. Maybe worthwhile to talk a little bit about what are the things that prevent dads or men from taking care of themselves. What are your thoughts?
Well, before we go any further, believe it or not, Drew and I hadn't seen each other for probably about 3 or 4 years until recently. We were at an event that Dove Men Plus Care put on. I forgot how in shape Drew looks. I went, oh gosh. I go, man, this guy can protect me. He looked like, I'm going, he told me he ain't working out. He's working out, man. He looks like he's working out. He's in good shape. So kudos to you, Drew, for keeping yourself in shape. Like I got some catching up to do. But for me, I think one of the reasons, I think probably is their dads work out, right? I think the impact that a lot of our dads have over the years tells us that, we a lot of times we copy our dads. I think like I know both of us have had athletic backgrounds. I know, did your parents athletically active?
I never really saw my dad do anything but work for the most part. Work, eat, and go to the racetrack. That's what my dad did. That was his leisure. And my mom in particular, she wasn't really active, but I always, from the time I came home to live with my mom when I was 7 years old, I think I started playing sports when I was around 9, and I just loved it. So that's always been something that I've done since the time I was 9 years old. So I didn't necessarily have that example in terms of my parents. My mom liked to walk, but she's quite frankly, she wouldn't consider herself athletic by any means. And I've seen her try and do a few athletic things, and the coordination skills aren't necessarily quite there. And I love you, Mom. Don't mean that in the negative way. It's just a fact.
We all love our moms. Yes, we love moms. We love our moms. And it's, I can also say with my dad, I didn't see him exercise because he was always working. Just like my parents were always working. And I don't know where I picked it up from. Like I did a lot of athletics when I was younger and things like that. And then work life started to take over my existence and working out less. And, believe it or not, there was a time I used to do 4 or 5 spin classes a week. And people said, like, why did you enjoy it so much? The half an hour shower I took after. That's what
Well, I'll tell you, man, 4 to 5 spin classes a week. That's some intense training and working out. And what did you feel like in the midst of that, physically or emotionally or mentally?
No, well, physically it was great because I take exercise as much as a physical as a mental thing. And there's a challenge. Can you get through those reps? Can you get through a 60-minute class and getting through it? And again, making the time. And I think coming back to some of the things that are preventing dads from doing it, being intentional about it. Being intentional about, and I know a lot of dads are getting into walking. There's a gentleman around the corner from me. Every evening he goes walking with his partner and his child every evening. And not only good for a family thing, but also good for his own personal health. And I think for dads, if they want to try to get over that hump, see if there's some physical activity you can do with your child or your family. Even if it's just a walk, it's something. And you're getting a win-win for that you're winning for your personal health, but you're also winning for your family's or your child's emotional health. Mm-hmm. Just a thought.
Yeah, it's a good thought. A very important thought. And we could probably talk more about that. I want to share, an example from this week. This week I was pretty busy. Got a lot of different things happening, both personally and professionally, and was working a fair amount. Hadn't been to the gym as much just since Eliana has been born, and I haven't really been doing too many physical activity things, but I was really feeling the need to get moving and get doing things. And so I'm thinking, again, in this idea of barriers, I felt demands I felt pulled in a variety of different areas. Oh, I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I've got to get home. I want to help support Kristen. She's doing such amazing work at home. I want to help her. I want to do this with the house. I've got this other thing I've got to respond to. My mind was very active, right? But my physical body wasn't very active, right? It was in the car. It was in the office. It was at home. And it got to the point where I came home after a very long day yesterday, and got home, reconnected with Kristen, and we just started talking. And she, in her mind, this is why I really love her so much. She at almost the same time, I said, I feel this is great, but I feel like I really need to go exercise. And like dinner was pretty much all ready to just go on the barbecue, and I'm going to grill it. But I was like, I feel like I just got to go. She's like, you know what? I was going to ask you that, actually. I was going to call you at the end of the day and say, hey, did you want to go exercise and then come home after? So she's like, yeah, go. And so fully supported. And so I went for a run and had a great run, hard, but it was a great run. But all those different demands and expectations, either created by myself or by just the responsibility, can often pull at, I think, men or pull at dads.
Yeah.
I think the other thing. So, anyways, that's my example this week. I think about that's a barrier for me in terms of being able to meet all those things.
The stress of family responsibilities, and we talk about it all the time on this platform, can be overwhelming and can distract you, let alone having time, but also let alone you for working out. And I think that everyday life for most of us isn't getting simpler. It's getting more complicated, and there's less and less room in that cup to fit in that exercising.
Yeah. I want to say on the flip side, some people are so fanatical about their exercise or whatever that they will sacrifice things, and they'll sacrifice family time or their own personal. I don't think that's necessarily healthy either. No. But again, it's about. I feel like the important part for me was working with Kristen, communicating, recognizing I didn't necessarily even feel like doing this, but there was part of me that said, you need to do this. So I felt compelled to do it. But I think sometimes there's the internal barriers as well. Yeah. May not be talked about as often. That prevent dads from even taking the step of taking care of themselves, or recognizing that they should take care of themselves, or they have value, they matter to actually take care of themselves. And again, you could probably go deep. We probably need more of a psychologist on to talk through some of those things. But I think that, if you're a dad, I guess my main point in this whole idea is, really trying to identify what might be stopping you from taking the steps you need to care for yourself the best that you can, given whatever demands or expectations or experiences you're going through. And maybe we'll talk about this in another show. But, I also know I've been going through a high conflict separation. And if nothing else, one of the biggest takeaways I've had from that experience is how important it is to take care of myself, because there's been so much that's been out of my control. But my kids have had such intense needs through this, awful experience, that I had to take care of myself so that I could be the best that I could be for them when they were with me, so they could get all of me and the best of me to fill them up as best as I could between the times when they were with me and weren't with me. So it's really just dads know what's getting in your way, but how important it is for you to take care of yourself.
Yeah, I thank you for the share there from a personal journey, Drew. I think also it's one of the things they say when people say, "Oh, I'm a procrastinator. I can't stand it. First of all, don't beat yourself up. Dads, there's many dads in the world that don't feel that they're getting enough exercise. So take that weight off your back. You're not the only one."
And hold on, Ed. This is also beyond just exercise, right?
Yeah.
It's eating right. It's getting enough sleep. It's feeding your body, your soul, and your spirit. All of it.
Oh yeah, we're talking total body here, not just the physical aspect, but mental, emotional, all that. And if talking about it and saying, picking one of those aspects and say, okay, stop thinking about what happens when I don't do it, but say, what happens if you do it? And then who wins when you do it? not only do you win, but your family wins. I come from the lens of don't beat yourself up, because there's many of us out there, and just say, okay, what happens if I do a little bit, and who wins if I do a little bit?
And I really love the point about your family, and you can bring your family into caring for yourself. Like if we're just talking about physical activity, I go to the park with the kids, I play with them, right? I don't sit on the bench and watch. I'm playing grounders with them. I'm running around. We're playing tag. And in between, I'm doing some dips on the playground. I'm doing some pull-ups on the playground. I'm doing some squat. Like, you can combine having fun, investing in the family, and caring for yourself. Or if you're, as you said, doing a walk, maybe doing some meditation, whatever it is, you can bring your family into that. And the more they see you doing it, the more that they might remember that or become something that is ingrained as a family activity, or they just eventually become, much more is caught than taught.
Yeah, it comes back again to one of the central foundations, of Dad Central, about the aspect of play. I think that's really, really, play is exercise. And again, play is a great avenue to develop relationships with your children that can last forever and ever. And also, again, dads and fathers, just don't think it stays there.
Are you a dad who feels like you're juggling a million things at once? Balancing work, family, and personal goals can be overwhelming. But what if there was a solution? That's why we created our new fatherhood community called Dad Mentor. For over 20 years, Dad Central has built practical tools to help dads. We understand the challenges you face and provide the support you need to thrive. The biggest complaint we hear from dads is there's no dedicated support for their specific needs. But not anymore. Our new community, called Dad Mentor, is here to transform your fatherhood experience. Imagine feeling in control, staying calm and patient when your children misbehave. Picture yourself connected to your children, guiding them with confidence and watching them succeed. When you join Dad Mentor, you'll have access to a community of like-minded dads committed to their dad journey, just like you. You'll also get the Dad's Roadmap. This is a step-by-step plan to help you go from unsure to unstoppable as a dad. Monthly masterclasses and Q&A sessions. You'll get answers and know exactly what to do straight from experts. Monthly group meetups that connect dads over common topics. A dad's resource library. Curated webinars, podcasts, or guides built by Dad Central to help you grow as a parent. And finally, you'll also get exclusive members-only offers and events. Now, many dads do try to do this fatherhood thing alone, only to find themselves trapped in frustration and strained relationships. Then they may turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms like drugs, alcohol, or other distractions, leaving their family and their own well-being at risk. We don't want you to reach that point of regret. Take steps to invest in you and your family today. Join Dad Mentor and go from stressed, tired, and overwhelmed to confident, calm, and connected. Join us today by going to dadcentral.ca/dads. You remember those Reader's Digests?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they had a segment in it called Laughter is the Best Medicine, right? And have basically jokes.
Yep.
I have found that playing with my kids, creating laughter or moments of joy and just being silly are very powerful. And because I was a serious dad, I was serious. There's stuff to get taken care of, expectations. And the more that I let go of that and I lightened up and I played and I got jokey, and even I wanted something serious done, but I did it in a jokey, laughing, kind of funny way. It just transformed the experience, and it improved my, let's say, the mental and emotional well-being, sure, because the connection with the kids is much better. And so, yeah, there's a lot to be said for that piece.
Yeah. And Drew mentioned a little bit during his sharing during this conversation, but I think developing self-care practices is really important. And I always encourage dads, can you take 15 minutes of your day and just do nothing? Like, one of the things I love to do is, I'm blessed to have a long veranda at the front of my house. And at least once a day, because I work from home, just to be honest here. But even if I didn't work, I just go out there and sit for a few minutes and relax. Sometimes it's first thing in the morning when, just as the sun is rising, just have that quiet, peaceful time. There's no cars, there's no anything. I was helping a dad a number of years ago who lived out in San Francisco, and he, 4 o'clock had to go home, get home in time, and then sometimes come home to a really chaotic chaotic environment. That's the word I wanted to say.
Yep.
And I said to him, I made the suggestion. I said, okay, what about this? Why don't you, when you get home, turn off the car, turn off the key, and just have 5 to 10 minutes of just peace? Because a lot of times you're just going from one challenging environment to another challenging environment, and you're not setting yourself to be at your best to deal with whatever is going on in the household. And he took that to heart, and he said it meant such a difference to him. He said, I started leaving work earlier, coming home and started with 5 minutes, used to take now 10, 15 minutes to just have that time to himself, turn off the radio, open up the window, and just do that little self-care time for himself. He said it meant the world of him.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. It also reminds me of the concept of, creating margin. Mm-hmm. We all have different demands in our life. And sometimes those demands can be from the moment you wake up till the moment you go to bed at night. And you just do that over and over and over again. If you don't intentionally create margin, quiet space, blank space in your days, it wears on you. Absolutely. And so what that practice was creating a little bit of margin for him in the time that was needed for him to be able to then re-enter or transition from work mode to dad mode, if you want to say, right?
Yes.
So, and those transitions points can be quite challenging if we don't create either intentional practices, whether it be space like that, or whether it be mindset, whether it be just a recognition of, okay, now I'm transitioning to a different, and I'm not going to bring, work mode into dad mode or vice versa. And I have had stories of people who, they remember their dad and they saw their dad at work, and then they're like, oh, that's why he's like the way he is at home, because he's essentially the same. He wasn't shifting to that. And so then those come with varying levels of, either appreciation or more like, because of that, I couldn't really connect. I couldn't really relate. Emotionally, he wasn't there, even though he worked so hard to provide for us physically and all those other things. So anyways, I know we're moving off top. I want to stick to the topic of wellness.
No, it's all good.
Fathers taking care of their whole self.
Yeah. And I want to just jump back on what you're talking about, laughing with your kids. And there's a number of studies that show that laughter reduces blood pressure and eases tension. Absolutely. So that's another great benefit of, finding that time and increasing your quality of life as a dad, not only in yourself, but through yourself with your family. So I think it's really important. And there's another area too that we've talked, and I'm sure we're going to continue to talk about, seeing a mental health specialist. You need to do that. It's really, really important, because it's not an easy world out there for being a dad, and having that support, and sometimes having that person that's not of the family that you can. There's many years ago, there was a movie called Waiting to Exhale. You can exhale to, that's not going to be judgmental, is really, really key. And, and if you need that help, be open to seeing a professional. And I know there's a number of companies that offer those in their health benefit packages. If you need it, take advantage of it. I
think it's important to recognize that we all need support at times. And I read a great book. It is, her name is totally blanking on me. Oh, anyways, it's cleaning. The book is called Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess. Oh, Dr. Carolyn Leaf.
Oh, I saw. Oh, wow.
She's fantastic. I love her approach. The key is recognizing, one, how we view the medical system views it from a very distorted and I think unhealthy perspective. When you look at it, it's really these things that come up are they're signs. They're signs that there's something going on. It's like it's like your warning light on your dashboard when your oil is low. It's not that the car is broken. It's not that the car needs to be scrapped or that it's like a bad vehicle. It's just that you need some oil. And so what you do is you stop, you top the vehicle up with oil, or you change the oil, and guess what? It's back to new. And that's the same type of thing how we should view these psychological or mental situations, that it's not that the car were broken. It's the fact that it's a warning sign that part of our operating system is needing some support. And that's what it's about. And so, anyways, really powerful research, powerful insights, essentially great takeaways from that book, Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess, in terms of like just practical things you can do. And all it takes is literally 12 minutes a day to be able to, metaphorically clean up your mental mess. But your point of having someone to speak to be able to share with, to be able to vent and get some of these things out is actually quite important. It can be a mental health person. It can be a close friend. It can be it can be your partner. It can be anyone, but there's so much value because we all need some form of support. And, there's lots of research around the value of social connectedness or social support to be able to help through difficult times and seasons. So it's a sign of strength and courage to be able to say, actually, my low oil sign is I need some help.
Well, just to add on what you said, it was about 10 to 12 years ago, I had a chance to share at a conference in Niagara Falls, and the keynote speaker was Dr. Carolyn Leaf.
I got to see her live.
Wow.
Good.
Wow. And even today, her stuff is still next level. Like, it was just phenomenal stuff in regards to what she had to share. She was just fantastic. It was just a life-changing experience in regards to thought process, etc. Was just very, very good to experience and a once in a lifetime experience, because I don't know if I'll ever get the opportunity to see her again. So I took it while I could. So very, very important. And again, having that, and I, one of Drew's cores I know is having that community of fathers, having that, I always challenge dads. If something goes on at 3:00 in the morning, do you have another dad or another man that you can call? It's really key. Now, if Drew called me at 3:00 in the morning, I'd hang up. No, I'm just joking. Even though he lives 2.5 hours from me, I would be there for him.
Yeah. I have relied on my friend Ben, who's he's in Virginia, so I don't have the ability to see him regularly, but he's been like a brother to me through this high conflict separation I talked about. And I pick up the phone anytime, and he's either answering or he's saying, like, Drew, I got this going on. Can I call you later? If not, if I'll still pick up and I'll call you right back if you need me. So very powerful, very important.
Yeah, and I'm noticing, I guess, in my journey, more and more people are dialing my number, and I don't mind, because a lot of times, with the fathers, they just need someone to chat with. And I'm also going to take this into it's still the same lane, taking care of yourself, but I had a conversation with a fellow father this week. We're very close, and there's a gentleman who runs a fatherhood organization in this country. And my friend asked him, do you have critical illness insurance? And he has 3 kids, single with 3 kids.
Mm.
And the guy said, what are you talking about?
Mm.
So yes, we're talking about wellness, but also wellness and legacy.
Mm. Reminds me of our conversation with Jay Gabrani.
Yes.
Prepared Fathers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So dads, take care of yourself. It's important. It's important for you. It's important for your children. It's important for the other people in your life who rely on you.
Absolutely. And and wherever, if you're watching this during 2023, enjoy your summer. Wherever you're watching, there'll be people in the other parts of the world it's winter, but here in North America, enjoy your summer, get out some exercise. If you can, do it with your family, but it all starts with you, bottom line. So as always, we'd like to say thank you for taking time to watch another conversation. You can catch all our conversations on the podcast website, dadcentral.ca/podcast. Email us, give us guest suggestions, give us your feedback. If there's something you'd like to see us have conversation about, or someone you'd like us to speak with in the area of fatherhood, please do that. And also website address, dadcentral.ca. And finally, as always, the Dad Central Show is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. Dove Men Plus Care believes that care is the best of the men, because when men care for themselves and others, there's a positive impact. So thanks very much for listening. Remember to give yourself grace, and don't
Ed,
whoa.
I want two things I want to quickly say.
Go for it.
One, if you're looking for a community of like-minded dads who want to grow and improve, then go check out Dad Mentor. So dadcentral.ca/dads. Okay, that's the first thing. I don't remember the second, so we'll leave it at that.
He was giving me the count.
No, the second thing is this.
Yes.
If you have found this show to be valuable, if you find the conversations we're bringing to you important and providing you practical things you can apply right away, we'd really appreciate if you'd go to Apple and give us a review.
Yes.
Let us know what's working. And of course, you can rate us on Spotify and on Apple. That really helps. If you check us out on YouTube, then please leave a comment or leave us some feedback to let us know that what we're doing is helping or supporting you or valuable, because it really helps us, helps the show, helps us be able to get more interest and more people listening and part of this community. So if you're getting value, please take that step for us. We'd really appreciate that.
Tell us, I look at this show as a co-creative effort. We do it with you, and we want to have fathers and their families be better. So we do it with you, and we appreciate your support, and don't take it for granted. As always, remember to give yourself grace, and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Thanks for watching.